It all started with a storm and a knock at my door. One of those nights where you just know something's about to go sideways. You ever get that feeling, like the universe has set you up as the main character in someone else's twisted drama? Yeah, that was me, standing in the kitchen, staring at the rain coming sideways across the yard, when I heard it. At first, I figured the HOA here at Sunny Ridge Estates was just another bunch of bored folks who got their kicks telling people to mow their grass or paint the mailbox beige. But that night, things shifted. Martha Hargrove, the so-called president, she wasn't just about rules. She wanted to own every bit of control, even if it meant putting my family right in the crosshairs. The storm had wiped out power on every street except ours. Why? Because I'm the guy who plans ahead, buys a generator nobody else thinks to get, and keeps my wife and boys safe no matter what. That simple fact made us a target. Next thing I know, Martha's at my door with that fake smile and an HOA agenda in her hand, telling me she needs my house for some emergency board meeting. She talks like a queen making a royal decree, and when I say no, it's like I just insulted her entire bloodline. She didn't ask, she demanded. And when I turned her down, she made it clear there'd be consequences. Let me back up a sec. You think you're buying into safety and community when you sign those HOA papers. You get the brochures, manicured lawns, neighborly waves, and let us handle it promises. We believed it, Anna and me, when we moved in. But under those polite waves and cul-de-sac cookouts, there was something sour. Sunny Ridge had its own pecking order. Retirees who ran every meeting like a church revival, ladies who could remember every offense from 3 years back, and right in the middle, Martha. She wore her pearls like a badge and had the appetite of a prosecutor hunting her next case. I'm not confrontational by nature. I fix things, keep to myself, teach my kids to respect their tools and their word. But the rules started creeping in, and signed notes about my mailbox, neighbors texting about my grass being a little long. At first, I laughed. Small town drama, you know? Then the tow truck showed up at dawn, trying to take my old car. I watched my neighbor, the same woman who brought over lemon bars, stand there nodding like she'd just seen justice served. Cops showed up, sided with ordnance, and by afternoon, I'd learned my lesson. The HOA could flex, and they liked it. So I started fighting back. Complaints, emails, even tried a petition. But Martha had the place locked down. Older residents, old loyalties, favors traded at bake sales. New folks like us. We got the cold shoulder. I was the guy who made noise. The troublemaker. There's a special kind of quiet cruelty in a board with too much power and not enough sense. They tested me. Letters, calls, tiny punishments. It was slow erosion. Until the dam broke. Tuesday night, sky pitch black, wind howling like something alive. Most of the block was dark, but my house glowed, a beacon. 3 days after the storm, Evelyn and Roberto, an elderly couple from down the street, showed up at our door. Their roof was gone. Insulin warming in a useless fridge, desperation written all over Roberto's face. Of course, we let them in. Coffee, spare bedroom, whatever we could do. Evelyn cooked. Roberto told stories. The boys hung on every word. For a minute, it felt like community should. People helping people. But word travels fast, and by the next day, Martha knew I had guests and lights. She showed up again, more forceful this time, saying I should move out for the night so the HOA could use my house. Like hell. She smiled with her eyes cold as a January pond, hinting at all the trouble I'd face if I didn't play ball. You know what I mean? It was the kind of moment that splits your world in two. Before and after, we'd crossed into target territory. The next move was classic. An anonymous letter slid under my door about my car, again. It wasn't about the car, it was about leverage. Next morning, another tow truck. I walked out, coffee in one hand, phone in the other, filming everything. The driver stammered about orders from the HOA. I called him out. No paperwork, no tow. He backed off, but neighbors watched from behind blinds. That's when I realized they wanted to break me, not just fine me. I pushed back harder. Police, county clerk, even a local reporter. But nobody cared about petty HOA issues. I tried the petition route again. Some folks signed, but most were too scared of Martha's reach. She spread rumors, called me an agitator. My petition fizzled. Anna told me, they're scared of her, not you. She was right. Bullies count on fear. It got ugly quick. Late-night knocks, vandalism on my garage, violator in red spray paint. Anna nearly broke down. That night, Roberto gave me the best advice. Don't fight her game. Pick your ground. I tried to rally support again, but Martha doubled down. Flyers, threats, accusations that I was hoarding power. She even said I was charging people to use my generator. Lies, but effective ones. Then came the mandatory meeting notice taped to every mailbox, with threats of fines for non-attendance. In a blackout, people lined up at Martha's house like sheep. Anna squeezed my hand and asked, "What about us?" I told her, "We stand our ground." That night, the camera picked up shadows in the yard. Martha leading a group, bat in hand, board members with crowbars. My heart hammered. I got everyone inside, gun at my side, just in case. She shouted at me to open up, claiming the community decided my house was theirs now. She threatened my family. I warned her, clear as day. When she raised the bat toward the door where Anna and the boys stood, instinct took over. I drew, fired a warning shot, clipped her leg. Sirens, chaos, neighbors screaming. Roberto's steady voice, the cops arriving, me cuffed on the curb until they reviewed the footage and realized what had happened. That's when the twist hit. Roberto, quiet old Roberto, turned out to be a retired detective. His testimony sealed it. The fallout was ugly. Rumors, accusations, but this time, I had proof and backup. The next emergency meeting happened in a neighbor's garage, people finally speaking up. I told my story. Roberto told his. The vote was nearly unanimous. Dissolve the HOA, strip Martha of her power. She tried to block it, but it was over. Weeks went by, no more fines, no more threats. Kids played in the street. Laughter returned. But the peace felt fragile. Martha's court date loomed. Even with the board gone, I checked the locks twice at night. One morning, the news flashed. Martha barred from ever running. An HOA again. Not as harsh as she deserved, but enough. Now, I walk Sunny Ridge different. It's not a battlefield, it's home. Evelyn and Roberto, now grandma and grandpa to my boys. Anna smiles again. But I won't ever forget that night. The echo of the shot, the line I crossed to protect what's mine. Maybe you've never faced a Martha, but trust me, there's one in every neighborhood. What matters is standing up, drawing a line, refusing to let fear win. So, tell me, what would you have done? Drop your story in the comments. And if you've ever taken a stand, hit subscribe. This is how we keep the light on, even when the world goes dark. The morning after that gunshot, everything felt off kilter. Sirens faded into the sunrise, but the echo of what happened clung to the walls. Police tape fluttered in my yard. Anna moved through the kitchen like she was floating, making eggs no one really wanted. Lucas sat at the table, staring at his cereal, spoon in hand, but not moving. I watched him, feeling the kind of ache only a father understands. You want to promise your kids nothing bad will ever happen, but sometimes the world just laughs in your face. Out in the street, neighbors walked by slow, eyes darting. Some gave us a wide berth like we were contagious. Others lingered a little too long, pretending to check empty mailboxes just to sneak a look. Rumors were already flying. I heard one woman whisper, "He tried to kill her." Another fired back, "No, she went after his family." Everyone had a version, but hardly anyone wanted the truth. Inside, Evelyn sat at our kitchen table with her hands clasped, lips moving in silent prayer. Roberto, back straight as a fence post, took up position by the front window, scanning the street. Like he was back on patrol. You could feel it, the whole neighborhood holding its breath. But you know what sticks with me? That moment I cleaned the gun that morning. Hands shaking, cloth running over steel. I kept asking myself if I could have done anything different. But deep down, I knew. If I hadn't stood my ground, something worse could have happened. Martha, of course, wasn't finished. Not by a long shot. Word came down from Marcus, that young dad who'd warned me before. She was still spinning her story from the hospital, telling anyone who'd listen that I was unstable, violent, harboring outsiders, and hoarding resources. She claimed she was just leading a safety inspection when I snapped. Trouble is, some folks wanted to believe her. It's easier to pick a villain than to face how close you came to real danger. Flyers started popping up, stuffed in mailboxes and taped to lamp posts. They accused me of everything under the sun. I thought about fighting back, Sue her for defamation, maybe. But Clara, the lawyer, shook her head. It'll cost you years and a fortune. Take her power away, not just her reputation. That idea stuck. And I wasn't alone anymore. Roberto, now introduced as Detective Alvarez, retired, went door to door with me. When people hesitated, he just said, "I saw everything." Suddenly, folks started talking. Denise, fined for her curtain color, Joy, threatened with a call to child services over a toy on her porch. Even old Mr. Barker down the way who'd gotten 3 fines in a month. For a bird feeder. For the first time, people realized they weren't alone in their misery. By the end of the week, we had enough signatures to force a vote to dissolve the HOA entirely. Martha tried to block it from her hospital bed, called it illegal, demanded the vote be held at her house. Nobody listened. Instead, Marcus and Denise cleared out their garage, and neighbors crowded in, sweating, sitting on folding chairs between kids' bikes and piles of Christmas lights. When my turn came to speak, I didn't give some big speech. I just laid it out, how Martha tried to take my car, threatened my family, brought a mob with bats and crowbars to my backyard. I showed the footage, let the facts speak. Roberto stood up, cool as ever, told them what he saw and who he was. That was it. The vote was a landslide. The HOA gone. Martha's power, finished. But you know how it is, right? Power doesn't just vanish. It lingers in whispers and sideways glances. Even with the HOA dissolved, I checked every lock twice at night. Anna tried to relax, but every little noise set her on edge. The boys, well, kids bounce back better than adults, but there was a haunted look in Lucas' eyes for weeks after. Evelyn and Roberto stayed on, fixing up their house during the day, joining us for dinner at night. My family grew, not by blood, but by fire. Grandma and Grandpa. The boys called them one evening, and Evelyn cried right into her soup. The whole block started changing. Block parties, neighbors helping neighbors, laughter on the street. Instead of that fake, tight-lipped smile. For a second, it felt like Sunny Ridge had woken up from a nightmare. But I wasn't naive enough to think it was over. Martha's court case dragged on. Every so often, a headline would pop up, or someone would mutter about the HOA making a comeback under a new name. Fear doesn't disappear, it just learns how to hide. Roberto said it best. Sitting by my fire pit on a humid evening, cicadas buzzing in the trees, you did what you had to do. Don't let guilt eat you. I told him it still haunted me. The shot, the look on Anna's face, the way my boys clung to me afterward. Roberto nodded, eyes heavy. That's the price. Innocence only goes one way. Weeks turned to months. Evelyn and Roberto rebuilt their home, but Sunday dinners at our place became tradition. The boys learned how to whittle, Anna started to smile again, and I finally felt, almost, at peace. Then, one morning, the news flashed across my phone. Former HOA president sentenced to probation, banned from serving on any board for life. It wasn't as harsh as she deserved, but it was final. Anna hugged me, tears in her eyes, whispering, "It's really over." Now, when I walk these streets, it's not as the guy who shot somebody or the troublemaker who fought the HOA. I'm just a neighbor, a father, a husband, a guy who refused to let fear rule his home. There's still that memory, sure, that echo of a night when everything changed. But there's something else, too, a sense that community isn't built by rules or enforced by threats. It's built by people standing up, saying enough, and meaning it. So, maybe you're watching this, shaking your head, thinking nothing that wild could ever happen where you live. Maybe you've got your own Martha, your own quiet tyrant lurking in the bylaws or the boardroom. My advice: don't wait for someone else to stand up. Don't wait for the storm. Build your real community now. With kindness and backbone, not just rules on a sign. That's how you keep the light on, even when darkness tries to move in. And if you've got a story like mine, share it. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe a neighborhood needs an HOA to survive, or can people handle things better on their own? Let's hear what you think, because maybe, just maybe, the best way to keep tyrants in check is to remind each other we're not alone. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, and stick around. Because out here, the stories never really end. They just wait for the next storm to reveal who we really are.